Distance can be a major barrier to accessing quality healthcare on time. That's where Angel Flight East comes in. Welcome to Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East, a nonprofit dedicated to providing free flights for children and adults who need medical treatment far from home. We don't know how many people forego medical care because they don't have accessible transportation, and that's what this podcast is here to change. Join passionate AFE staff members Jess Ames and Maddie Beck as they share real-life stories from people who have used AFE services to get the care they need when they need it.
Hey, frequent flyers, welcome back with another episode of Takeoff Talk. You're here with me, Maddie.
And me, Jess.
And our biggest fan on Facebook, I think, Tim Barr.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for shortening it. I like the fewer syllables.
Anytime. So, Tim, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with your healthcare condition in general?
Well, it's been about 23 years, in fact. My most recent kidney transplant was my second one. My first one started, about 23 years ago. I was in Naval Reserves and training to be aircrew for the back of a DC-9. That meant transportation safety specialist or flight attendant for passengers, or loadmaster and what have you for making sure cargo was loaded properly as well. But to do that, you had to go down to Jacksonville and do the swim and fizz. That's a swim test. And, they try to drown you in a airframe and you have to get out 3 times, once blindfolded, and also ride the altitude chamber up to 25,000 feet and then take your mask off and try to do patty cake again. And you really miss when you're oxygen deprived. But anyway, during the swim test, I was kicked in the nose by a fellow squadron mate, and I was rushing towards the side to get out, and nose was gushing, of course. And I went over to medical, and I had a 210/150 blood pressure. They said I should be having a stroke, and I said, well, sorry, but I don't know any better. So I didn't have a stroke, fortunately, but that started the whole process of testing, and they saw that I was already down to 30% capacity between both kidneys. And so that started a few years of trying to keep them going, and eventually they were down to under 10%, and well, that led to just about 6 months on dialysis till my teacher sister was able to get enough time off to donate. So my first one was a living donor, and very fortunate. Now, this last kidney transplant where I needed it, I was down to 6% and very close to shutting down. Not to be overly dramatic, but that's how close I was. And I mean, it was even at a routine visit to my nephrologist who said, you're going in today. And within a day or two, I had the permacath inserted in my chest and goes up and over the neck right down into the heart. And from that, I started dialysis right away, and I went to a DaVita center, and I was on dialysis 8 months, and time was starting to run short only because if it didn't happen before the end of June, I was not going to recover in time to get my DOT physical to be able to drive tour bus again. And that meant I would have also lost my CDL license and would have had to start all over again. But if it took a few years, the chances of my wanting to start all over again probably wouldn't have happened. So I was very fortunate to receive a kidney within 8 months. And I guess I could tell you how that happened too, unless that comes up at a question later. Nope, I can give it to you now. Sorry. But because it is part of the story, really. Yeah, I was told that since I didn't have a living donor lined up this time, that I would be waiting from 5 to 7 years. And again, more than likely that meant I would never drive a tour bus again. And that hope of driving again is part of what kept me going over the past year and a half. And April 11th, I believe that was a Tuesday night, I picked up my wife at work. She is an usher at American Music Theater. You may have heard of them in Lancaster County. And we were at a restaurant just up the street for a little late dinner. And that morning, I had received a call that I was like a next in line, or not next in line, but one of two people being considered for a donated kidney that day. And then they called me that night at dinner and said, sorry, that one fell through, but we have two more. And then those fell through. And then it was a couple of weeks. And actually, I got the date wrong. That was probably about a month before that. But on April 11th, a Tuesday night, I got the call again. They said we have two people on life support. Now, what it was, I don't know, an accident, what have you, I don't know, but basically they were never coming back. So that, and then a few days went and I hadn't heard anything. And so a little bit of discouragement started setting in. You know, it's like, here we go again, up and down. It is an emotional roller coaster for someone waiting for a kidney, and you think you got one, and then all of a sudden you don't. But Thursday night, April 13th, I got the call again. And this was, can you be here at 4:30 tomorrow morning? And that was about 11:15 at night. And I said, yeah, we can. And the miraculous thing is, not only were we ready and packed to go, my grandson came over and picked up our two 4-month-old cockapoo puppies. So,
Oh,
yeah, really. And if we had known it was going to happen this quickly, we wouldn't have done that. I mean, they were wonderful little puppies. Well, sometimes I say that. They were, sometimes I called them devil's daughters. They were that bad. But they're getting better. Anyway, and my mother, who had, well, I won't say her age on air, but she's does remarkably well for someone living at Willow Valley. She is that's about 15, 16 miles away. And when I called her about 11:30, she was there by 20 after 12, packed and ready to go along with us.
that's awesome.
She was not going to miss out on being there for me. And yeah, that was fantastic that she did that. And yet I mean, I was still in good health. So for me, it's just a matter of having some control over the situation. I drove out to Pittsburgh, which is about 4 hours away. But it used to be that they did not encourage multiple listing years ago during my first one, like 16 years ago. Now, to make sure that everyone gets one sooner, most programs don't mind if you list on multiple transplant lists. I mean, I could have even joined the list in Philly at Penn Medicine or down in Delaware. And since my first one happened it wasn't UPMC then, but it was Pinnacle Hospital, Harrisburg, and now is UPMC, I figured, well, why not? Went out and signed up at UPMC Montefiore in Pittsburgh. So as far as the regions they covered, that basically covered as far as potential donors, unfortunately accident victims, covered the whole lower half of Pennsylvania. And you had many highways, including the recently one you heard on the news, Route 81.
Yeah.
And so just playing the numbers, not trying to be morbid, that helped the multiple listing plus the larger area. But what happened, I don't know. I think it was an accident victim. When you get your transplant packet, you get a card that you can send a thank you card to the family. It's up to them if they want to respond. They don't have to. So we did send them a nice thank you, and it could have been anything. If it was mom and dad, well, then there was kids left without parents. I don't know. If it was a dad and a daughter or a child or a mom and a child, you just don't know. There's a family that lost, well, two people that were probably very important to everyone else in the family. So it took that whole week from Tuesday to Friday morning or Friday afternoon when the transplant happened. I would leave for the hospital, UPMC Montefiore, to contact all the family members who may have wanted to say goodbye. At the same time, they were contacting other potential recipients, because since these two people weren't coming back, they had 4 kidneys to donate, 2 livers, 2 pancreas, maybe eyes, who knows. There's 8 major organs they can transplant, plus whatever else they can transplant. So that transplant floor at Montefiore was very busy that week just from those 2 people. And those 2 people, I thank God for them, really. I was supposed to wait 5 to 7 years, and I had it in 8 months. And about 2 weeks ago, I had my first bus trips again. I'm driving again. So
That's so
Yay!
fun.
Yay.
What tour bus do you drive?
I drive for Elite Coach. It's a Ephrata-based company, so I do get down your way. I get to the Philly airport. I go up to New York or Rhode Island.
Wow, we're gonna have to get on one of your buses.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask
I
your
have
schedule.
fun. I have fun. We're not supposed to talk to the people a lot, especially when we get in heavy traffic or something, because we're supposed to be paying attention. But I find a way to
Yeah.
be safe and talk. I mean, depending on the group you have, they're usually happy to be going where they're going. If it's a college sports team, they're a little more serious. But if it's the Reading Buccaneers, a world champion drum and bugle corps, we have lots of fun with them. And anyway, I can just the stories about them practicing for 8 hours for a 17-minute show, I just don't understand.
Oh
But
boy.
they're
So
they're
how
that
did you find Angel Flight East?
well. That has the Navy Reserves connection. We went to an air show at it was Joint Air Base Willow Grove, and Angel Flight had a table set up, and I think my wife wanted one of the little hand-sized teddy bears that you had,
Oh yeah.
and it's in the garage somewhere. I've got to find that for her, or just buy another one at Wings and Wheels, Wheels and Wings. Yeah.
Yep,
Yep,
wings
you'll
and
be
wheels.
there.
Of course, now I have to detail that car to get it ready, wash it and wax it and get all the bugs off, but we'll be there. I think I went off on a tangent there. How did I find out about it? Yes, it was at the air show, and saw the table, and that's how I remembered it. And for some reason, I thought that someone I knew from a church I was at years ago, Craig Groff, one of your pilots,
Oh yeah, I love Craig. He's the
somehow,
best.
yeah, he's good. He had like a pipe, no, not Piper. It was a Commander. Anyway, it looked a little like Cirrus, but it was called Commander. And he like a number of them are business owners, and even though it's still a great personal expense, may be able to deduct some of the expenses, but doesn't matter how they own the airplane. Most of them just love flying. I mean, one pilot even rented a plane to take us out. So I
Yeah,
thought,
that happens way more than people realize, I think, too.
yeah, it did. So I may as well go on to the next question. I sort of forgot what we were talking.
So do you have a favorite Angel Flight that you took, or one that was super special to you?
Well, they were all great in one way or another. But actually the last one, of all the pilots that owned or operate Cirrus, that was the nicest one. He might have, whether or not he was a doctor or lawyer, what I don't know, but it even had carpeted floor mats with Cirrus on it. He had it
Wow.
that
Who was it?
dressed up. Justin something from Hagerstown, Maryland.
We're gonna have to call him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have to Google this one.
Yeah, I don't have the last name from him, but I just have first name in
All
my
good.
phone list. But yeah, he had his really dressed out nice, and it was only probably only 2 years old, if that, and really nice. And he actually even had the smoothest ride. Plus, depending on how the airport brought us in, we had a nice steep bank turn approach, and that was fun too. you're looking out the window and the one wing's up there.
You probably have some really nice views then flying into the Lancaster
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, well, I could probably send you a one where we had a rainbow that was following along just ahead of us.
Oh, that sounds
And it
so
was like a
cool.
big arched rainbow, and that was nice. So yeah, it's been good. Anyway.
So, Tim, I just have a side question. Since you
Sure.
are from Lancaster and you know how much
Uh-oh.
I love Lancaster, since I went to school there, have you ever eaten at Shady Maple?
Yes, I have.
Oh, it's the
I'm
best, isn't it?
yeah, I'm not supposed to anymore, but
Yeah.
I
I
do
don't think any
anyway.
of us are supposed to.
I do anyway. No, it's very good. Um it's worth the trip, especially if it's your birthday, they'll
You
it's
eat for
either half
free.
off, it's either free or half off. Yeah, and I mean, you just go with the plan, eat what you want, and you don't have to have plates that, the food's about to fall off, but you can just go back.
That's why it's worth going there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Since there's no Joe's Crab Shack nearby anymore, that's my other favorite place to go. Yeah, is Shady Maple.
I think if Jess could live in Lancaster still, she would.
I would. I love Lancaster. It's such a cute little town. There's so much going on lately.
Oh yeah, and even my hometown of Ephrata here, you'd probably like that a lot too. It's really changing and growing with the times.
Yep.
Some of the
And I love Lidditz too.
but this is good. Although at Borough Council or the Downtown Effort Organization, you don't want to say that too much. Well, Lidditz,
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know
want
if
to upset anybody.
it's not a rivalry, but they do have a tax base about 5 times bigger than ours.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
So
doozy.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Lidditz is
So
a very nice town.
how many flights have you taken now with Angel Flight?
We counted that up today after I reread the questions, and I think that's 7 flights.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I think our first one was in May, and we've driven a few times, depending on the weather, if, the pilots didn't feel secure about that. Although John, his name is just north of Pittsburgh.
Greco.
Frank, yes, that's him,
We
John
love John
Greco.
Greco.
He was a very good pilot. He had a heavier plane than most. His was all aluminum and a little bit bigger for a single, but also heavier, and rode the turbulence nice. We had a good ride with him. So yeah, it was 7 flights, and now gradually that it's going to be less, since my next trip out to Pittsburgh is in November. Through the last round of testing and the biopsy, they're pretty certain I'm going to keep this kidney for quite a while. And
Yay!
yeah, really, really. So they are now starting to space out visits. My next one is November, and in January will be my first video visit. So I won't say that November will be my last Angel flight. They'll just be further apart, maybe even down to once a year. Well,
Wow.
probably every 6 months, but I won't know that until they tell me. Yeah.
Well, no matter what, you know we're here for it.
Pardon me?
I said, you know we're going to be here for those flights, no matter if it's
Oh,
6
yeah.
months, 6 weeks, 6 days.
Well, I'm just hoping somebody wins the Mega Millions and buys you a Cirrus Vision
Tim,
jet
you
or
said
something.
you were going to win
Yeah.
and buy us
Oh.
2 Vision jets so we could fly like Kim Kardashian.
Well, she has a Gulfstream, but yeah.
Well, we would take one of those too.
Yeah, we're not picky.
We don't discriminate.
Well, or one Vision and one TBM, or what is it, a Pilatus, turbine
Yeah, those are pretty
high performance
nice.
single. So they're a little more economical.
How would you say Angel Flight has affected your life?
Well, it's certainly a major convenience. Over the past year plus, well, since I hadn't been working, we were getting a very lean budget. I had a small partial retirement from 20 years at PennDOT, but over the past year, when the DOT, or it's called FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, says you're on dialysis, you can't drive. And that's really mostly what I was doing now since retiring from PennDOT. And now all of a sudden I couldn't do it. So the past year got very lean. And once the transplant happened, Angel Flight certainly saved us a lot of money. I mean, Turnpike is about $30 one way. Gas was another 35 or 40 one way. Fortunately, we found a very nice organization called Family House. Even if it's their regular rate of around $89 a night, that's much more reasonable than the, I forget what the hotel is.
120 usually.
Yeah, 120, 130 across the street. We actually also found some sort of supplemental grant from the hospital that brought that down to $40.
That's
So,
great.
so we've been fortunate to find stuff like that to help out. Anyway, so yeah, it's helped in that normally all the traveling back and forth would have been expensive, but now it's not so bad.
So without Angel Flight, would you still be doing that long Turnpike?
Well, I would have to, because really, having driven tour bus for 10 years, a long trip like that doesn't bother me. I actually enjoy driving, and it's not a problem, especially in something that big. It's like floating on a 8-wheeled airplane. 2, 4, 6, yeah, 8, yeah. So I enjoy driving those big things. But yeah, I'd get out there somehow. I mean, they were nice enough to arrange the kidney for me, and they're happy with the way I'm taking care of it, and they like seeing the shirts too.
I really like the shirt, I have to say.
Thank you. The staff at 7 West, which is the Starzl transplant clinic, they love them. So I figure, well, I may as well keep it going. It beats buying flowers anyway, since these won't die on them.
True.
It's very tropical. It makes me feel like I'm in Miami or something.
There you go. Oh, that's why I have the flamingos.
What would you say to our listeners about flying in a small airplane?
Well, you have to do a little bit of planning ahead. Don't drink too much. There is no restroom you can get up and walk back to. You're stuck in your seat, and that's really the only downside. Why I never got involved in flying, I don't know. Maybe it was, I thought they wouldn't take me because of my eyes. I don't know. But actually, that was just the Air Force. But kind of like skiing, there's that big investment.
Yeah.
So I just never got into it. But no, it's not even scary. I mean, some of the depends on how the pilot takes off. You have a nice steep climb, and that's fun. I like that part, especially cruising down the runway, accelerating, and that's always been fun. So it'll be fun. It'll be a different experience. Just don't expect a drink cart to come down the aisle.
All good points. And
Oh, yeah.
what is one final thought that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I'm certainly grateful for, I have too many people to thank, really, because once this second transplant journey started, I think there were 3 different church congregations that were praying for me. So upwards of 1,000 to 3,000 people were praying. Maybe that's why it happened so quickly. I don't know. But I also like to give back. So when you're blessed with so much like this, I'm still in contact with the Gift of Life, and eventually I might start public speaking for them, but you got to go through the application process first. I also, so if you haven't been a person that has thought about giving back, this is one way to remind you that there's a lot out there and a lot of people that may need your help one way or another, whether it's through a living donation. I mean, everyone can give a kidney if they meet all the criteria. But what a lot of people don't know is you can give half a liver away, and it'll grow back.
I didn't know
People,
that.
people don't know that. Yeah, it'll grow back. And your donated part attaches to theirs and starts working. And it's amazing that they can do that kind of thing. And anyone that is involved in social media, well, they don't have to need a transplant or used Angel Flight's services. And I'm not trying to brag, but one thing that I did is if you're on Facebook, they will remind you when it's your birthday, whether you want to know that or not. And what they will do is they will suggest a fundraiser. And I forget what I did it for last year. But anyway, this year I decided to do it for Angel Flight and pretty much went 3 times what that one went. And as long as I add my little $35, that'll make that one. I think that one will be 300 plus. Then my wife's part of a local service organization, and they're going to give another check for 100. So basically, anyone that even looks up Angel Flight, if they want to donate, they certainly can. There's many organizations that need the donations, but Angel Flights does so much for other people that the donations will not go to waste. Anyway, I think it's a good thing.
That's
Thank you so much,
amazing.
Tim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm just glad we got this thing to work finally.
Technology never works in our favor when we need it to.
Yeah, well, that and the paperless society never happened either. We always back things up with a printed copy.
Yeah, but we really appreciate you sharing your story with us and our listeners, and just the impact our volunteer pilots have had on your journey to your kidney transplant.
Well, they're great, and yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad you're there, and I hope more people find out about you.
And I'll
Thank
see
you,
you in
Tim.
October because I'll be in Lancaster for my 10-year college reunion. That's
10 years.
embarrassing.
Oh,
I
no.
know.
And which college is that?
Millersville.
Oh, Millersville. I drive a lot for them. In fact,
Yeah.
I once drove their, was only about 3 or 4 years ago, drove their cross-country team out to Pittsburgh near Shadyside. In fact, unfortunately, we had to go right past the Tree of Life Synagogue. You know, the one where the mass shooting happened, and it's interesting. It's one of the best parts about driving tour buses, all the places I get to go, and sometimes you see some very historical places, and sometimes they're fun, and sometimes like that they were very serious. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. So yeah, that is what kept me going over the past year, is the possibility of driving again. So well, your reunion is when?
October at the college bar. It's going to be weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll see you before then if you're at Wings and Wheels.
She's ditching me, so it's me and you at Wings and Wheels.
I know. My brother decided to get married that day, so unfortunately I'm on wedding duty. He's rude.
Trying to think of how you can see
Get
the
out
car
of it?
again. Well, we'll make sure you get a picture of Maddie standing with the little convertible.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it.
Well, thank you. Really.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim. We appreciate you.
So would you give me a kidney?
Yeah, I think you have 2, so you can always give a kidney away, can't you?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in case of emergency.
I would trade you my kidney for half of your liver.
What if we just ask somebody to swap our kidneys? So it's like one Maddie kidney, one Jess kidney, and both of us. Once our livers.
I'm trying to think of the doctor that we can genuinely ask that question to. Dr. Beck, she's going to think we have lost it officially.
Dr. Beck is my sister, and I think that she thinks that we've lost it a long time ago. And just to make it all make sense for you listeners out there, Hannah's a psychiatrist.
Yeah, she analyzes us. I can tell. Just when I walk into her house, even, I was like, Hannah, what are you thinking? Can you tell me?
Right. I don't want to drink near you because I get nervous.
Yeah, I don't know what I'll say. She actually told me that she is a nice sister and she doesn't know why everybody's so scared of her.
Because they've met her.
And then when I talk to her, she is the nice sister. You, on the other hand,
Are charming and lovely and wonderful.
I think they say the saying is diamond in the rough.
Only to people who don't know, or only to people who know. If you don't know me, I'm great. If you're actually my friend, you know the truth.
Remember, some people have taken 2 years to talk to you. It's because of your aura.
I have a nice aura. I think that the color that I emanate is blue.
Blue.
Yeah, I think I give a blue vibe.
That's not happy.
Yeah, huh?
I would think
Like a light blue, not a dark blue.
Hmm.
Like you're like a yellow.
I was thinking like pink sparkles and rainbows and unicorns emanating from me. Is that the right word? Emanating?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. I didn't have to look it up for once.
I'm sticking to yellow. I think David would be green.
He gives me more like maybe like a lime green.
I could see that. But either way, let us know what color you think our personalities are, because obviously we don't agree. And we'd just like to hear a third party's view. So we'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you for another episode of Takeoff Talk.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode of Takeoff Talk with Angel Flight East. If you want to learn more about our services, please visit our website at www.angelflighteast.org or call our office at 215-358-1900. Join us in our mission. If you're a healthcare worker or a patient in need of air travel and flight services, AFE is here for you. Subscribe to the show so you can hear more stories. Join us again next week right here on Takeoff Talk.